We're working hard to try to get, closer to 70 cars a month regularly. And then obviously we just want to continue moving from there. So always trying to grow, always trying to improve and sell more.
Absolutely. All right. You ready to get into it?
Absolutely.
All right. Welcome to the Loveall Sales Podcast. My man Earl. So tell us where you are located. Tell us like a little bit about yourself before we kind of get into the sales aspect of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Luke or Earl Bergey, Decorah, Iowa, Decorah Chevrolet, Decorah Chrysler, Car Auto Group is our group. I'm the sales manager here. I've been the sales manager for about 2 years with this dealership, and I was a sales manager at another dealer for about a year. I've been in sales since 2018. Love car sales, love the automotive side. Have a lot of fun, and I'll make a lot of new friends, and it's just a great job to have if anybody's ever interested in joining the industry. It's definitely an awesome job to have because you play 70% of the time and work 30%. You get to play with some awesome cars on the whole time that you're doing it too. So it's great. I'm very, very thankful that a couple people talked me into doing car sales a few years ago. So it's certainly helped improve my life. Since I joined. It's great.
Absolutely. And you were a technician before you got into sales, right?
Correct. Yep. I was a tech for about 4.5 years at a locally owned shop before getting into sales.
So what made you want to get into sales?
Um, that's a good question. It was one of those things where I had a mutual friend with the general manager at this dealership. He sent me the listing one night on Indeed and said, "I think you'd be good at this. You should go talk to Shane, who's our president of the dealer now." And my brother sent it to me and said, "I think you'd be really good at this. You should probably give it a try." And I, like anybody, was always, I'd buy and sell dirt bikes and four-wheelers and stuff on the side, not actually make any money, but always enjoyed that side of it. Always loved driving through car lots. Always was curious about the industry. And yeah, I had bought one vehicle at through a dealership prior to starting here, and it was such an awful experience that I knew that when I started here, the things basically baseline not to do when I started selling cars. So it was good to go experience that from a consumer standpoint before actually starting in this role.
Let's talk about what was so awful about it because obviously we got to avoid those things. So what was so awful?
So the salesperson, I was in contact with them. It was the exact truck that I wanted.
Mhm.
And I was going to be financing part of the truck because I sold my previous vehicle. The truck was 21 grand or something like that. And I asked, can I put 10 grand down and just finance the rest? Yep, that's absolutely no problem. Okay. And you guys take personal check for the down payment? Yep, absolutely. That's no problem. Okay. Get there. And for me, it was about a 4-hour drive one way to find the truck of my dreams at that point. And I get there, the truck is nowhere to be found. Keys are nowhere to be found. Salesperson's nowhere to be found. They finally track down the salesperson, find the vehicle, bring it up. And you know how white vehicles, they get like the rail dust, the kind of little rust spots on it. They were all over the truck. It was clean, but it hadn't been like clay barred or detailed or anything. So drive it, love it. And at that point, I knew I was going to take it no matter what because it was what I wanted. And all of a sudden it gets to the financing side. I haggled a little bit on price, but again, it was what I wanted. And I was looking for a month and a half. So it was just time to end the process. And no, we can't take out of state checks. We can only take this much cash down. You can't do this. You can't do that. And it just kind of turned into a whirlwind of something that the salesperson made it sound like it wasn't going to be like. So ended up just financing right through them with no cash down and all this and that. And then as soon as I got home, just financed it through my own bank because I knew them locally and I knew it was now knowing it was going to hurt them with a chargeback. But I'm like, this isn't, this isn't at all what you guys told me. So, and yeah, so I knew when I took this position or the sales position, excuse me, that what not to do in some aspects. I mean, if I was a, I don't know, 19-year-old kid. So I was just kind of wanted the truck that I wanted and didn't really know what the buying experience was like. So looking back after some sales experience, why the vehicle wasn't ready, why it wasn't detailed, why nobody knew where it was, why why you couldn't take a personal state, out of state check. Like, just if you're not sure, just ask your manager, your general manager, your finance person, whoever actually has the answers for you. Like, just get an answer instead of saying, sure, that'll work. I mean, but they had me because I drove 4 hours. So
You did get the truck, you financed it, you charged them back. How long did you keep the truck? Just curious.
I kept it for just over 2 years
Okay.
and working here. So then all of a sudden, as you're probably familiar with, the itch started to get worse every day working in a dealership. So it was time to upgrade religiously, it seemed like, after that.
How long do you keep cars now?
I usually keep my personal vehicles about 12 to 18 months, and my wife usually keeps hers 2 years to 2.5 years.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And that's what most people in the car industry, they just see so many new cars like, yeah, I like that one. I like that one.
Yep, it's so hard not to, and it's just, yeah, it's hard not to always want the next thing and the next thing, and oh, the 25s and the 26s are the same, but this is a 26, so I better have that one.
So, what do you, from a standpoint of a manager,
Mhm.
like, how do you get the most out of your people? What do you look for in people that you hire?
Mhm.
Like walk me through, like, from a salesperson aspect, what do you expect them to do on a daily basis?
Yeah, first thing in the morning, I want them logging in, checking their CRM. Obviously, if we don't have a BDC or anything like that, so see what internet leads you had overnight, see if you had any emails that came through the CRM, any unanswered text messages, because some of it goes through the CRM, some of it goes through, their work email and so on. Attend to that first. Do a walk lot or a lot walk. See if there's anything that maybe needs touching up, anything that needs to be moved, if there's anything that you didn't know that's sold that you had a deal working on. And then basically from there, go through all your tasks for the day. If there's anybody that needs, we use BombBomb as like a video app to send people walk around. So if there's any of those you need to get sent out, try to do that early. And obviously phone calls right away in the morning to try to catch people before they get to work or maybe on their way to work. And then, yeah, just try to touch every inquiry that they have, every task that they have, just to see what I can help them with, what I feel like needs to get a little more attention, where's this deal at, and so on. But as far as the hiring process or like personality wise, somebody that kind of has the self motivation that you can see right away, somebody that's wanting to learn, grow, I don't want to say money hungry, but driven by their paycheck. I like the guys that, don't want to come in and sell 10 cars because that's going to pay the bills this month. Like, I want somebody that looks at 15 cars and says, okay, well, that'll get me roughly here. And I want to make sure that I can live beyond my means, if you will. Don't want to cripple them with debt, but want to encourage them to, spend a little bit more money than they probably should, make them work a little bit harder in an aspect. But yeah, competitive. I really, really like a competitive sales guy. I know I saw you talking the other day with the Texas car guy, when he was talking about former athletes or high school athletes, somebody who's coachable, somebody who wants to win. I was a high school athlete, so I was very, very competitive. When I first joined the team here back in 2018, um, I had no experience selling cars with an actual process, besides Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist back then. So all I cared about was the marks on the board. We've got a whiteboard in the sales manager's office, now my office. And as long as I was beating the other guys, I knew that I was going to make money. And I didn't care if I sold 25 minis and the other guy sold 17 deals that paid $800 a piece. I don't care because I sold more than he did. So bragging rights, I definitely look for that. I want somebody who wants to go beat the brakes off of the competition, whether it's in the store, across town, 30 miles away at another dealership, somebody who wants to beat everybody that kind of competes against them.
Absolutely. So when you were selling, how many cars did you sell a month? I know you said 25 and then 17. Is that what you were selling?
Right around the 20 mark, kind of on average. It would fluctuate, but yeah, right around 20 was kind of my rolling average, I would say, over the 4.5 year course of me selling. Once I kind of got my feet wet, learned a little bit, learned a lot. Some good training, some good discipline along the way. You got to devote a lot of your time outside of work to marketing yourself and branding yourself, which I know you definitely touch on a lot, Brent. So yeah, I mean, just investing in yourself, whether it be time, money, training, whatever. I mean, just putting all your chips in the table and going for it, essentially. Because I mean, had some, obviously I could never break the 30 mark, which always pissed me off. Best month I had was 29. The general manager reminded me that if I would have done this and this, I probably could have hit 30. So you go from that high to that low, but it was very humbling, and definitely made me continue to be hungry. But yeah, 20 cars on average is usually what I kind of did in this area. So
Yeah. Well, congrats.
yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. So how many salespeople do you currently have?
Right now we only have two in this store. There's been conversations about bringing on a third, and it's the whole what came first, chicken or the egg type of thing. Do we got to get to 70 cars, you know, very easily every month, before we get a third sales guy, or do we get a third salesperson to get us to 70 cars? That's been a conversation we've been having a lot, the last couple of weeks, just to try to get us over that hump and try to take us to the next level. So we have two full-time sales guys, and then we have, the couple managers that can sell. We try not to. If there's a lot up, we will try everything we can to get them to a sales guy. Same with phone ups. We just basically take care of our repeat and referral customers. You know, uh, might be a little different. I know it's different than the last or the other dealership I was at. I know a lot of places do it where everything goes through a sales guy. We do it a little bit differently. We feel like if somebody got referred to us personally and not necessarily our dealership, then they came to see us for a reason. Somebody had great words to say about you, so make sure you give them the same experience, and maybe next time hand them off to a sales guy and see if they're comfortable that way. But yep.
Absolutely. So how many are y'all selling a month right now?
Right now we're between 50 and 60.
50 and 60 between two salespeople. Pretty strong.
Yeah. Yep. Sales guy do an awesome job. They are great here.
Awesome. And do you get a lot of repeats when you sold cars there?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I'm selling 8 to 10 a month just off my repeat and referral type customers.
Amazing. And
Yep.
keep coming back. Just keep providing great service.
Yep. Sold a Equinox earlier this week, and it was the sixth vehicle that they bought from me. So
Amazing.
it's yep. I definitely care about the repeats and referrals, because that's, as you know, being in the business as long as you have, that's where you're going to make your money. I mean, you have to get people to come back. You have to get people to tell everybody about you. So that's definitely a focal point here. We make sure the sales guys stay engaged with customers. One thing that I always did, when I was selling, was instead of making a birthday text or a birthday email or something, I would send out birthday cards to people. And depending on the level of relationship that we had, I know there was a couple from 35 minutes from here, and they bought a new Suburban from me and sent the wife a birthday card. And sarcastically, I knew she was 56 or whatever, for example, and I sent her a birthday card saying happy 29th birthday. And she drove up here to thank me, give me a hug, and then she brought her daughter with. Daughter bought an Equinox. She wanted a fun summer rig, so she bought a Jeep Wrangler. Like that one Suburban deal that you could have just left in the weeds and never talked to again ended up turning into 3 car sales. So, and that's all within the same household. So it was the guys out there that think that doesn't matter. It absolutely matters.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
How many people are in your town?
This town about 7,000.
So super small rural area.
Yes, we are in a very, very small area. I mean, you have to drive. We have a Walmart in town, but If you want to get to a town of 100,000 people, you're going to have to drive an hour.
What's the biggest town around you? The
Uh,
100,000.
like Rochester, Minnesota, Mayo Clinic, everybody knows them. They're about an hour and 20 minutes from here. Waterloo, Cedar Falls area, they're about an hour and a half. So La Crosse, Wisconsin is another fairly large town. They're an hour from us. So we're kind of smack dab in the middle of farm town USA.
So you get a lot of farmers.
A lot of farmers. Yep.
So I know before we got on the screen, we talked about how you don't have a lot of inventory. So your Chevy rep, they need to give you more cars, number one.
Absolutely.
So you have to do a balancing act because you only have 8 new cars on the ground right now.
Mhm.
How do you manage that?
Very tediously. We have to, you have to be competitive with your pricing too. So you don't want to pick and choose car deals, but you also got to sell them. You're not going to hurt or not going to help your inventory status if you decide to hold on to this stuff for 150 days waiting for the right trade. You're going to pay juice on it. You're not going to get interest credits. Like, you still got to sell them. Like I told you earlier, we've only got 5 new Chevys even in transit. So to continue to try to meet our objective every month, we're not an SFE store, so that doesn't affect us quite the way that it would if you were. But that's one of the reasons we're not. We can't get enough inventory here to comfortably sit and know that we're going to hit our target every month when we're at, you know, less than 100% of our objective just on inventory on the ground. It gets challenging. And then it also makes it very hard for dealer trades. I mean, as you're familiar with, if we have somebody that, I told you we only have 1 HD on the ground, if somebody comes in looking for something very specific and I'm able to track one down, well, the dealer is going to say, you don't have anything that interests me, you don't have anything that I want, or they not say cherry pick, but they're going to take a piece back that fits them. And just last week, I did 2 dealer trades and I had to trade inbound units, which does not helps us right now, but long term, it does nothing for us. So yeah, it's tough, it's challenging, but I'm trying to, rub the bottom of our district rep and try to get some more inventory every time we can. And, just try to show these guys that we can sell and we can get rid of them and move them. So please just keep them rolling our way and we'll get rid of them for you.
Absolutely. Have you all ever looked into buying packages?
We have, we've talked to a few different locators that obviously offer services like that. But right now it's very tough to want to do that because like a Chevy Trax, for example, you have to pay $2,000 over invoice to be able to buy it. Well, invoice to MSRP is $600 difference. So how can I sell this thing for $1,500 over MSRP? And even if you sold it at invoice, is it a good business decision to lose $2,300, $2,500, $3,000 to move, units just to earn allocation? So it's a conversation that's been had between the general manager and myself, if that's a good move to make. Because even Silverados that you are starting to see out on lots, I mean, you still have to pay invoice or 500 under invoice, and then still it gets to be kind of tricky making that work. So we have looked at it, but it's kind of tough right now buying from locators for sure.
What we did was the last store I took over, Chevy GMC store, and they didn't have a lot of inventory. So
Mhm.
the other managers, we would just sit there and call other dealerships, not
Mhm.
because you use the locators, like you said, they make money, it's hard. So we
Mhm.
called a lot of dealerships and we found a local dealer, I shouldn't say local, within like 400 miles. And then we literally, instead of paying transportation, we literally sent our drivers to go get them.
Mhm.
And we literally bought like, I think 1 month we bought like 40, and the next month we bought like 30. We just kept buying them and buying them. And then, of
Mhm.
course, our objective, we smash that and they start giving you more, and then we don't have to. So we played that game that you're currently playing for a while, man. And it's a juggling act. And
Yep.
yeah, what is your objective this month?
9, I think.
Okay. So you would have to literally sell out all of your inventory and have 0 cars and still need 1 more.
Correct.
Insane.
It is. It really is. It puts a little bit of stress on us. I try not to let it leak into the sales guys too much because the objective to them doesn't mean nearly as much as it does to me. As long as they have cars out here to sell, they're fine. So, but in our position, yeah, you have to you have to think that way. I mean, we're going to have to sell 110% of our new inventory this month just to meet the objective.
Insane. They need to give you more cars. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So y'all sell mostly used then?
Yeah. We sell quite a few used. The majority of our sales come on the used side.
Where do you get those from? Trade-ins, auction?
A lot of trades. We are fortunate that way. We get a lot of trade-ins. And then yeah, we buy some cars. We've got a guy designated between the two locations to buy. So we've been doing a lot of that lately. A lot of off lease stuff. Some stuff from Avis and Enterprise if we have to, but we try to get as many of the lease returns as we can. But yeah, in some instances we have no choice but to go to a Fleet or Enterprise or something like that to get a rental.
Have you all ever looked into hiring somebody that just specifically buys cars like off the street?
Not really. We have the one guy, like I mentioned, who works between both of our locations to buy, but that's all online type of stuff. We have sent out flyers in the past as far as we want your car, we need your car, or the old calling up previous customers. You've had this for 4 years, you've had it for 2 years. Are you ready to trade? What can we do to get you ready to trade? So haven't necessarily designated somebody just to buy off the street, but it's when we were trying to, promote that a little bit more, we were getting a lot of people bringing in the $1,500 cars, the $2,500 cars, the stuff that really we don't want anyways. So that was the one downfall when we were trying to do that, getting a lot of kind of, cash for clunker type rigs that people were bringing by thinking that we actually wanted them.
Yeah. Only reason why I say that is like the first dealership, I shouldn't say the first, Volkswagen of Clarksville, shout out to them. We hired somebody because we got away from buying at auction, and he just but also completely different market because Louisville's got 1 million people. And he started buying 30, 40, 50 cars a month, and we just completely got away from it. The last place I turned off the buying at the auction, and we had a gentleman named Dustin, and he was buying 20, 30 cars a month. So it definitely helped us improve everything from a number standpoint,
Yeah.
so little food for thought.
Yep. And I will from time to time go through Marketplace and just see if there's pieces out there. During COVID, we were doing that. I was on Marketplace every day, and that's when I was still a sales guy because I was worried about how I was going to sell 20 cars the next month when we were getting really limited on inventory. So I'd take some of my time to try to buy stuff off of Marketplace, well, the dealer too. But yeah, I still surf through, but as you know, if somebody's selling on Marketplace, they usually are wanting retail plus 10.
Absolutely. Okay. So you work for the car group. I like your hat. Is that yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the
I like it. All right. So tell us this much, like, what is the thing that stands out to you most about the car industry that people just don't understand?
that we're here to help them. That's been the age old tale on this business, that we're here to gouge you. We're here to take all your money. We want to make $10,000 on every vehicle. Like in this area, especially, mentioning a small town, like we are here to help you. We're not going to pull the wool over your eyes. Like we're here to make money. Absolutely. But still that old narrative that we are just out here to get people is mind boggling to me. I don't know if the industry as a whole will ever be able to break that stigma. It's going to be very, very challenging, but we do our best in this building, at this lot, to try to make everybody feel privileged. Let them know that we are very, very happy and fortunate to have them looking at our lot, looking at our inventory, and offering a outstanding service department as well. We want everybody to feel welcome here when they come in. If you bought something in Des Moines that's 3 hours away, that's too bad, but we're happy to service it for you. We're happy to get you back in here because, as you know, service is going to turn into sales and vice versa. So just making everybody feel special, making them feel like we need them here, and they're not just a mark on the board. They're not just another tally on a sheet, that they're, that they're repeat customers and that they're going to be family every time they step through the front door.
Speaking about service, do you all get a lot of service people, meaning like your service department?
Oh yeah. Yep. We had 2 local dealerships that closed down, little over a year ago, and our service department is beyond busy, ever since that happened. If we could have 3 more techs and the shop twice the size as it is, we would still be busy for a month. I mean, it's just, yeah, we've got more than enough service to keep us busy, and we've got a lot of great service customers that continue to come back here for every single thing, whether it's a headlight bulb or a transmission replacement. They know that we do a great job and are always going to take care of them.
Absolutely. That's amazing. So was it new car franchises that went out of business or used ones?
Yep, they were new Chevy franchises.
My goodness. They just couldn't sell cars, couldn't service it, bad dealership.
No, they could. That was actually the competitive dealer that I was at. So it's kind of an odd thing, but yeah, I was working there. Things just didn't seem like they should be progressing the way that I was hoping they would. And these guys called on the right day when I was ready to make a comeback, but they did a great job. They're a bigger group, and they're not necessarily locally owned. They're originally from an hour and a half from us. But yeah, it's just, for them, it was tough finding the right employees in the right spots in my position, or opinion, I guess. They're great ownership, absolutely phenomenal ownership. They're awesome group to work for, but it sounded like it was more of a General Motors type decision. They didn't feel like they could sustain the locals as far as making sure they could take care of them on both the sales and the service side. So it sounded like, from what I've been told, that it kind of came down from General Motors, that they were going to be closing up shop. They were trying to build. They were trying to make new facilities for both locations, and they just couldn't find the right area. Still, had to be in their area of responsibility. And they just couldn't find the property to build and expand on. So, like any business in this country, if you're not going to grow, unfortunately, you're going to die, whether it be from the big sword up above or self-inflicted cuts. It's going to be, your kind of writings on the wall, unfortunately.
Yeah. So dang, that's yeah. So they closed down the point, probably took it away. My goodness. All right.
It was unfortunate, especially I feel for the 2 small communities that lost them. I knew a lot of people there, obviously working at those dealerships, because I actually bounced back and forth between the 2 stores as the sales manager for both. So got to know a lot of people, obviously a lot of friends that ended up losing jobs, but just the communities that lost a service department, lost a sales department. Coming back here, obviously I'm very fortunate for it, because we're 15 miles from one and 30 from the other. So we were able to capture a lot of it, but you just kind of leave people almost in frantic. They're not sure where to go, and they almost drive right past without even remembering that we're here. So, but no, it's been good.
I know I listen to a lot of podcasts, and CDJR, car dealership guy, CDG. He had Brian Benstock on the other day, and he owns dealerships, managing partner up there in like the Northeast. He sells about 180 cars out of service in one dealership. His goal is to get to 900, which is insane, but also a completely different market.
Right.
How does it go in that aspect for you all? Do you all sell any cars out of service? Do you typically just sell cars, meaning from the repeats? How does that work? Where do you all get most of your deals at?
A lot of it's fresh, whether it be lot ups, internet. You will occasionally get some service drive customers who are here for an oil change. I've got an hour to burn. What can we do? Or we had a gentleman this afternoon, actually, who was getting just an oil change done. I've been thinking he's a repeat customer of ours. He always dealt with the owner. I'm thinking about, it's getting to be time, because I've almost got 60,000 miles on my pickup. What do you guys have? Sean ended up landing him on one, and he was going to bring his wife back by tomorrow. So we try to work the service customers. Jason, who is our service manager, he was in sales for years. He does an outstanding job on the service side as well. But he knows he can feel customers out. He kind of puts a bug in their ear. So we maybe, I mean, I don't want to even say one a month out of service, but you'll have a month where all of a sudden you sell 3, 4, 5 cars to service customers. But on average, we don't get a ton of the service customers who are here and wanting to trade right then, but at least get the bug in their ear and, make them at least get the wheels turning to see if they want to trade or how close they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So your automotive group owns 3 different stores. Do they sell about the same amount of cars as well?
Um, the Ford store across town, they sell about the same amount as we do. Yep. And then like this store is both Chevy and Chrysler. So yeah, they standalone Ford store, they sell about the same as we do. They're at a little bit of a benefit, whereas yeah, I know we have 2 franchises. But if you drive 20 minutes away, there's a town that's got a Chevy and a CDJR store. You've got to go quite a distance to find another Ford store. So we're kind of surrounded by the GM. There's a GMC dealer in town as well. So you've got 3 new car franchises in a 7,000 people town. It's there's not a whole lot of meat left on the bone, but they're at a little bit of a benefit where you have to go a little bit further to find the Ford. So they kind of have their market on a little bit more of a corner than we do. But yeah, they're about the same size as we are.
Less competition is always a good thing.
Right. Yep.
All right. So, what's your strengths?
Oh man, I like to think leadership. I kind of um I'm more of a watch me do this type of leader. Here, I'm going to show you how to do it, and then I'm going to kind of push you or guide you through it. Communication, definitely know how to talk to people. Very, very people person like yourself. Um, so just, and I like to think like everybody, human nature, that I'm pretty knowledgeable when it comes to what kind of objection you're going to be looking at from this customer. Um, the GM side, as far as General Motors, I know a lot of the hoops and stuff we got to jump through for that. But yeah, I would say leadership. I like to do training with the guys. And I say guys just because our 2 salespeople are men. But yeah, I would say those are probably I don't like getting asked that question because I personally don't think I have a ton, but when I sit back and look at it, I know I've got a lot of good qualities that I can help the next generation of salespeople that come through. Try to help them grow and expand and learn as much as they can. Get them as much experience before they're in front of a customer. Try to do some role playing, make sure that they're not load their lips because I want them to use it in their own way. But one of the phrases that I like to use when I'm going through some different scenarios with the sales guys is, this is what I did. This is what I found success with, but make it your own. You don't necessarily have to say it or do it that exact way, but I had a lot of good luck using this. So try it, see how it sticks. If it doesn't, maybe just find a way to rephrase it. But yeah.
All right. And one question I love asking everybody: what
Mhm.
advice would you give to a new person, literally brand new in the industry, like first month, second month? What advice would you give them to make sure that they succeed?
Ooh, that is a good one. Treat everybody like family. Treat like the old thing that you got taught when you were 5 years old, treat others how you want to be treated. Don't go pushing them into something because that's where the profit is. Ask a lot of questions. I don't want you sitting there talking all about yourself because it's good once you get a commitment out of the customer, then you want to build rapport when you're on the walk around, when you're on the test drive, to know what they want. But once you do capture them, land on a vehicle, then you can, start to build rapport on a personal level for yourself. So find a way to relate to them. In this area, like I mentioned, a lot of small towns kind of scattered around. You might not know them personally, but if you know that they're coming from, New Hampton, for example, is a town 45 minutes from here, who do you know from New Hampton or that area that you can try to relate to them with? even if you don't know that person on a personal level, just find a way to connect to somebody that's sitting in front of you or on the phone with you, and just treat them with respect, answer questions honestly. If you don't have the answer, don't take your hat off and think you're going to pull it out, because you're going to end up tripping up or getting caught up in something and saying something that isn't necessarily true, or you don't have actually evidence to prove anything. So, you don't need to be full disclosure, but you answer their questions. It's as simple as that. If somebody asks you if this has ventilated seats, don't start telling them about remote start. I mean, just be as upfront and as personable as you can be. Bring positive energy. If you got somebody sitting across from you with their arms crossed, don't sit there with your arms crossed. If they come in bubbly, jumping off the walls, you can try to match that type of energy, but make sure you're keeping it going forward too, as far as keeping them kind of on course, and making sure that you're looking at what the end goal is for the customer. But yeah, just treat your customers with the amount of respect that you think that you would deserve if you walked into a place wanting to spend 20, 80, 100 grand.
Absolutely. And don't have them drive 4 hours and not taking out a state check and all that.
Right. That's, make sure you come find me if you don't know the answer to that question, because I will 100% confirm it. And I've told that to the sales guys before. If they're doing not something, I don't want to say sketchy, but I'll be the one to take the blame for something. If this bank, somebody has outside finance, their bank's going to overnight us a check. Okay, I talked to the bank, that's fine to let them leave. Well, are you sure? Well, it's my neck on the line because I just told you to do it. So if the general manager or the owner need to get after me because I did something wrong, that's fine. But you guys don't need to worry about a mistake that I make.
Absolutely. All right. What advice would you give someone in the industry, veteran or been doing it for a while, that's just like stuck at a certain number? How can they improve? How can they get better numbers?
Um, Self-promotion. I mean, that's a big thing. Marketing nowadays, getting your face and your name in front of absolutely everybody you can. I know when I started here, I was always trying to think of different ways that I could try to drive repeats, referrals, aside from, I don't have one in here, but the back of the sales guy's business cards have $50 referrals on them. So if they give that to somebody, write their name on it, somebody comes in, you get a $50 check sent to you. But trying to go a little bit above and beyond. Obviously, everybody nowadays is on social media of some sort. But what I did when I started was I had shirts made that were Luke at Decorah Chevrolet, because it was before we adopted the Chrysler side. And then on the back, it was like race on down to Decorah Chevrolet with my contact info and the business's contact info. And I had 50 of them made, handed them out to friends, family. And then I'm like, okay, so had 50 more made, and just whatever you can do to promote yourself, and asking for referrals. That's, if you're selling 20 cars a month and you're not asking people for referrals, well, you're costing yourself, like I sell 8 to 10 a month just off of repeats and referrals. Like, you might get that person to come back, but how do you get them to talk about you when they're out in the public? What can you do to make that person remember your name and not just where they bought it from? Because yeah, you want to help the business. If you're a salesperson, you try not to just think about yourself and your sales, but make yourself stand out. I mean, you want them to come back to the store, but you don't want somebody to walk in the front doors and say, I got sent here because I heard you guys are awesome to deal with. Like, well, who do you want to work with? Who's the person that you heard so much about? Like, do something. And I don't mean, paint your face blue and jump around, something different like that. Like, just be, it doesn't even have to be so professional, but just finding ways to relate to people so they remember you. And where'd you get your truck at? Decorah Chevrolet. Oh, who'd you talk to down there? Luke. Like, he's the guy to talk to. That's what you need to do. I mean, it's just the way everything is anymore. I mean, if you're not asking for the business, asking for the repeats, asking for the referrals, you're going to be stagnant. You're going to be taking phone calls and internet leads and walk-in traffic and just doing that all day. And that's good. That'll keep you at 15 cars a month, or 18 or 25, depending on the region that you're at. But if you're stuck in that same number, I mean, you're you're not going to get anywhere else unless you're trying to do a little bit more than the next guy. You know, you're like when I was in high school sports, you know, everybody, there's somebody out there that's working harder than you. So you're never going to be the hardest working person on the court, in the dealership, in the lawyer's office. Like there's always going to be somebody out there willing to work harder than you. So find a way to make it where you're the top, you know, the top dog, but don't get to that point and then just sit there, because anybody can climb to the top, but staying on top is what the challenge is, in my opinion.
Absolutely. What about someone that's thinking about getting in the car industry that hasn't made the move? Is it worth the right move? How do they know, like, should I do it? Should I
Right.
take a risk and do it?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I would encourage anybody to do it. I was at a little bit of a benefit because I had the technician background. So when I first started and told people that I worked on cars the last 4 years, oh, okay, well, what should I gained immediate trust from customers because I had some mechanical inclination about most of the vehicles out here. Maybe not each one specifically, but in general, what to look for, what to stay away from. Um, but yeah, I don't see a good reason not to get into the industry. I mean, it was a great decision that I made, you know, 7 years ago, leaving the technician job to get into sales. Um, Even at that point, if you're wanting to be a technician, I mean, now you got to be an IT guy when you're working on cars. That's just the way that it's evolved. But whether it's parts, service, even a detail job, if you have interest in cars, if you think dealerships are cool or you're very curious on how they operate, and you're 16, 17 years old, I can't even tell you another guy that works here. He's been with the company 15 years and he's 3 years older than I am because he started in detail. I mean, the president of the dealership here, he started as their parts guy 25 years ago, and he's the president. Like, yeah, you can work your way up as long as you're dedicated and whatever direction you want to go. But yeah, I would encourage anybody to get into the industry, especially I'm biased to the sales side, of course, because where else do you get to look at new vehicles, be in the new technology, and just talk to people all day? You know, it's an exciting time when people buy vehicles, but they're also not always happy that they have to be looking, whether it be, you know, damage or mechanically totaled or something like that. Not everybody's joyous when they have to come buy a car. Um, but for the most part, people are excited. Nobody wants to part with their money, but they're not going to take it with them. So make it as enjoyable as possible. And yeah, I can't think of a good reason not to do it. If you have interest in cars, even if you don't, um, you know, if you have interest in people or solving problems for people, there's so many different aspects of a dealership that you can get into. But I like the sales side just because you have a problem because you want a new vehicle. You have a problem because you're a business that needs to spend money by the end of the year. Like, I'd love to help you solve that problem. How can we do it?
Absolutely. All right. Any final parting words? Anything that you would like to share or ask?
Not that I can think of as far as any questions that I have. Obviously, you and I have talked on and off about the past year. I picked your brain a year ago wondering about how to not necessarily poach salespeople from other locations. Obviously, we would love to do that, but given our market and our area, it's pretty challenging. But I know our conversation probably started March of last year. Where you find salespeople, where you find good candidates, and you had a lot of great advice for me as far as who to look for, because you can sit down and interview 25 people and you can tell as soon as you meet them, for the most part, not to judge a book by the cover, but if somebody comes in, you can almost just tell if they kind of have what they can bring to the table. I personally like somebody that's green and doesn't have experience, because you can kind of sculpt them and mold them into what you want them to be. And I'm fortunate. I'm probably, again, biased that way because I had no sales experience. I was a GM certified tech. And one of the first questions that my boss asked me when I interviewed was, okay, well, what training did they do with you? Well, I'm, transmissions, brakes, electrical systems. Well, what sales training did they do with you? None. Okay, so you don't have any. Nope. perfect. And then he knew that he could just kind of shape me the way that he wanted me to be, the way that the process works here. And he's continuing to do so. His office is right next to mine. We got a little window between us. So he still continues to mold me and shape me into what he wants me to be. And I'm very fortunate for that. So the people who are green, I really like. Even though, I would not say no to a 20-year vet that wanted to come in here and start selling cars, because you pretty much just let go of the leash and let them run. But no, it's a great business. I was very fortunate to come across your videos a couple years ago, and then make the contact and still kind of bounce ideas off you. Communicate probably not as much as a lot of others do, but I'm not big on like the videos and Russ Flips Whips, who does a lot of the marketing stuff. That's just not kind of who I am. Obviously, you saw my video that I sent to you yesterday, so I did have my minute in the sun. But no, it's a great industry. I have absolutely no complaints about it. I'm luckily enough, probably got another 30 years that I get to do it unless something crazy happens. But no, I'm very, very blessed with a great team here. A lot of great people that I've met along the way, whether it be this dealership as a tech, a lot of awesome customers that you can learn a lot from.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I know we'll continue to communicate. And yeah, it was an absolute pleasure, buddy.
Same here.
All right, buddy. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Brent.